Let's dive right into this explainer, charting the evolution of football's absolute ultimate dream, the FIFA World Cup. You know, if you follow the beautiful game, hoisting this specific trophy as well, it's the absolute pinnacle. But how exactly did a chaotic, barely attended little tournament turn into literally the single most watched sporting event on the planet? Well, today, we're going to trace that epic journey. So, where did football's biggest dream actually begin? We have to go all the way back to 1904. The visionary behind the whole shebang was Jules Rimet. He's widely recognized as the father of the World Cup. As the president of FIFA, he dreamt up this wild idea of a truly global tournament. By 1928, FIFA officially agreed. And the original prize? It was the Jules Rimet Trophy, which was this solid gold cup cast in the shape of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Pretty cool, right? Okay, here's a quick look at our roadmap today. We'll be hitting 5 major eras. 1, beginning of a dream. 2, rise of Brazil and Pelé. 3, controversies and new heroes. 4, memorable modern era moments. And finally, number 5, the best final in history. Let's jump right in. Section 1, beginning of a dream, covering 1930 to 1950. The 1930 debut in Uruguay was, well, it was so remote that many European teams flat out refused the 3-week boat ride to get there. In fact, only 13 teams played. And get this, during the final, Uruguay and Argentina actually argued over the match ball. Their solution? They played one half with Argentina's ball and the other half with Uruguay's. Following that, we had Italy's politically charged wins in 34 and 38 under Mussolini's backdrop, before a massive 12-year gap halted everything for the Second World War. When the tournament finally returned in 1950, it was hosted by Brazil and featured a really unique round-robin format. Now, Brazil didn't even need to win their final match against Uruguay. A simple draw would have made them champions. So playing in the colossal Maracanã Stadium in front of roughly 200,000 fans, the unthinkable happened. Brazil lost 2-1. For modern fans who know Brazil as these undisputed football giants, the scale of this loss is honestly hard to fathom. It became known as the Maracanazo, and it literally plunged the entire host nation into deep, devastating mourning. All right, moving right along to Section 2, the rise of Brazil and Pelé, spanning 1954 to 1970. Before Brazil totally took over, 1954 gave us the incredible Miracle of Bern in Switzerland. Hungary's legendary team, the Magical Magyars, had been undefeated for 4 whole years. In the group stages, they utterly demolished West Germany 8-3. So naturally, when the two teams met again in the final, everyone thought it was a completely foregone conclusion. But in a massive shock, West Germany orchestrated a stunning 3-2 victory, delivering one of the greatest upsets in all of sporting history. Now, keep this number in your head, 17. That was the age of a young Brazilian kid named Pelé during the 1958 World Cup in Sweden. Think about that, just 17 years old, and he scores twice in the final. This made him the youngest World Cup winner ever, and it really sparked Brazil's legendary golden era, officially announcing him to the world. The drama only escalated in the 1960s. In 1962 in Chile, Brazil suffered a huge blow when Pelé was injured early on. But they didn't miss a beat. The incredible Garrincha stepped up to lead Brazil to a back-to-back title. Then, moving ahead to 1966, host nation England took the crown. That final against West Germany gave us Geoff Hurst's famous hat-trick, but also the highly disputed goal that never was, where Hurst's shot hit the crossbar, bounced straight down, and was controversially awarded as a goal. Fans are literally still debating that one today. This era culminated in Mexico in 1970. In what many consider the greatest World Cup team ever assembled, Pelé returned for his final triumph. Brazil absolutely demolished Italy 4-1 in the final. And here's the kicker. By winning their 3rd World Cup, FIFA rules allowed Brazil to keep the original Jules Rimet trophy permanently. It was the absolute perfect cap to an amazing era. Next up, Section 3, controversies and new heroes, from 1974 to 1990. The 70s brought us the brilliant total football of Johan Cruyff, who's arguably the greatest player to never actually win the cup, losing out to West Germany in '74. Then, 1978 saw Argentina win on home soil amidst the intense political backdrop of their military junta and those famous ticker tape celebrations. And in '82, Italy's Paolo Rossi wrote an unbelievable redemption story. He returned from a suspension just in time to win the Golden Boot and lift the trophy. But in 1986 in Mexico, that belonged entirely to one man, Argentina's Diego Maradona. His quarterfinal match against England is the stuff of absolute legend. Playing with the heavy emotional backdrop of the Falklands War, Maradona first scored the deeply controversial Hand of God goal, literally punching the ball into the net. Then, just minutes later, he delivered the goal of the century, a breathtaking 60-meter solo run past the entire English team. He gave us the most infamous and the most magnificent goals in football history, right there in the exact same match. Let's head into Section 4, Memorable Modern Era Moments, 1990 to 2018. The 90s gave us some seriously iconic and painful imagery. 1990 was actually the lowest scoring tournament, ending with Maradona crying after a penalty loss. Then, 1994 brought the first final decided entirely by penalties. We all remember Italy's Roberto Baggio standing there, head bowed in devastation after missing the decisive kick. Fast forward to 1998, host France triumphed behind Zinedine Zidane's 2 header goals, while Brazil's star striker Ronaldo suffered a really mysterious pre-match seizure, leaving him basically a ghost on the pitch. But Ronaldo found his redemption in 2002, securing a record 5th title for Brazil. 2006, however, ended in pure shock when Zidane, in literally the final match of his entire career, was red-carded for an infamous headbutt, handing Italy the win. By 2010, the tournament reached Africa, where Spain secured their very first title, utilizing their mesmerizing tiki-taka passing game. Now look at this staggering number, 7-1. In 2014, Brazil hosted the tournament again, desperately hoping to banish the ghosts of 1950. Instead, they suffered the Minerazo. In the semifinal, Germany dismantled Brazil's 7-1 on their home soil. It remains the most painful and humiliating defeat in Brazilian football history. Germany then went on to win the final, thanks to a late goal by Mario Götze against Argentina. 2018 in Russia brought us a brilliant underdog story. Croatia, a nation of just 4 million people, defied all odds to reach a rain-soaked final. But they ran into a French powerhouse. A 19-year-old sensation named Kylian Mbappé completely stole the show, becoming the first teenager since Pelé to score in a World Cup final and securing France their second star. Which brings us to Section 5, the best final in history, 2022. This brings us to the climax, what is now universally hailed as the greatest World Cup final ever witnessed. Hosted for the very first time in winter, the 2022 tournament culminated in a showdown between Argentina and France that, honestly, completely defied logic. Argentina cruised to a dominant 2-0 lead, but France's Mbappé dramatically scored twice in 2 minutes late in the game. In extra time, both teams scored again, completing a hat-trick for Mbappé, winning him the Golden Boot with 8 goals, and pushing the match into a nail-biting penalty shootout. And Argentina triumphed. After a lifetime of agonizing near misses and endless comparisons to Maradona, Lionel Messi finally lifted the trophy in his absolute final attempt. It was a moment of incredible global joy that completed his legendary resume and gave the sport its ultimate fairy tale ending. Looking back at these records, it perfectly summarizes nearly a century of sporting extremes. From Brazil's staggering 5 titles and the legendary 17-year-old Pelé, to the historic devastation of that 7-1 defeat and the undisputed masterclass of the 2022 final. But history never really stops. In 2026, the tournament heads to the USA, Canada, and Mexico. For the very first time, 3 nations will host, and the field expands to a massive 48 teams. The stage is totally set for a whole new generation of drama. So as fans around the world prepare for this expanded horizon, the only question left to ask is who will rise to become the next legend.